Mm. Hey y'all, welcome to the Devon A. Morris Unfiltered call-in show. Have a seat. Let's get ready. You have any questions? Come on, call in. Come on to that Discord channel. Do me a favor, get the unfiltered crew some finger snaps. We're ready to get started here. Mondays, 8 p.m. Every single Monday, we're here. I'm excited about it. Are you? Let's get this show started, y'all. The greatest scrum show on earth. I'll see y'all soon. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? You know, this is Devon Morris, the Unfiltered call-in show, just kind of getting us started today, right? It's been interesting. So first thing that I want to say before we do anything else, I'll show my guys in just a moment, but here's the deal. Across the United States of America, there has been a snowstorm. And there's been people who have had outages and all kinds of things happen, at least throughout the day to day. I know people that has been out of power for, hours upon hours in different cities that exist, right? And so definitely here in Texas, I'm seeing that happen. So I want to say before I do anything else, there's nothing that prevents everybody cutting my power off right now. Okay, nothing stops that from happening. So I just want to make sure I make you aware. So if all of a sudden the show just ends, then maybe it's because I ain't got no power. Okay, but I figured we would go. It is President's Day. I know it is kind of a holiday, but I just wanted to make sure that we do something to bring you just something during a cold day like this, because most of us are at home inside of our houses doing whatever we do, but the idea is that I want to make sure that this is available for you. Now, first statement that I want to make to you is really simple. Make sure you subscribe, like and subscribe, okay? Liking and subscribing is a part of what I need you to do. I want you to like it because I want to make sure that it helps the algorithms, and I want you to subscribe so then you get the notifications. So if you haven't done that, please go ahead and do that. Also, I want to say to you that we have lines open. So make sure that you actually go ahead and call in. Show up, right? Call in. Show up. The reason why I asked you to call in is because you may have a question. If you have a question, we want you to come on in and ask that question. That's really all we really want you to do. So just take a moment and just come on in and just kind of show up. So that will be an amazing thing, a super good thing for you to do for us moving forward. Now, that being said, there's a few things that I want to talk about before we ever get started here, okay? I want to first of all pass off a tad bit of respect, and that respect is on the fact that it's President's Day, and President's Day is an important day, okay? There are things that I want to make sure we cover, but it'd be silly for me not to talk about a particular president, right? And that particular president is Barack Obama. You see him right there. You see him, he's kind of pointing at me. That's a good thing, right? Like, I'm the man. Yes, I'm the man, Obama. I'm the man. So anyway, I do want to talk a little bit about him and at least some experiences that I had with President Obama. And whether you agree, disagree, you like him, you hate him, it's irrelevant to me. It is Black History Month. There's no reason for me not to talk about the first black president that ever existed. So that would be definitely a good thing. So first and foremost, Barack Hussein Obama II, Jr. I never heard his name being Junior, but it's Barack Hussein Obama II. Okay, he was born April 4th, 1961, in Honolulu, Hawaii. Now I laugh because there was the whole birther movement that said he wasn't a U.S. citizen, right? So I remember that, and some of you all remember that as well. Now he was the first president to not be born in the contiguous 48. Now, when I say the contiguous 48, I'm talking about the 48 states that connected together. It's kind of like people think of Alaska and Hawaii is being a little bit different, right? But in the contiguous 48, he is the only president that was born outside of that contiguous 48, okay? He was born to an American mother. His mother was of European descent, and Dunham, and Dunham, and an African father, right? Barack Hussein Obama, the first, the first. Now I believe his mother was from Kansas. Okay, his mother was from Kansas. Okay, and I definitely know he spent a lot of time with his grandparents and everything else. So that's definitely something that he talks about in his various books. You just go look at some information. He'll easily talk about his grandparents and their connection to him. But that being said, let me run down a little bit of history for him, and I'll tell you about my connection and when I actually met him, because I met him before he was president. Okay, in 1983, he started working in Chicago as a community organizer. So Obama has a major roots kind of connection in the city of Chicago. Now, I obviously love that because it's my city, it's where I was born at. But he started becoming a community organizer then. Around 1988 is when he entered Harvard Law School. Okay, he became the first black president of the Harvard Law Review. So some of you heard of that, some of you have seen that. Now I'm gonna jump and say this because she's from Chicago. He married Michelle Robinson, Michelle Obama. He married her in 1992. That's actually the year I graduated from high school, right? But he married her in 1992. The thing that's so interesting is that when you're from an area that people are from, you know history about them, right? So I actually have fraternity brothers that went to school with Miss Michelle Robinson or Michelle Obama, right? And here's the deal: she went to Whitney Young. Is this one of those magnet schools, a major magnet school in Chicago? I had the opportunity to go there, and so she actually went to Whitney Young, and I think she may have been one of the first, one of the inaugural graduating classes. I can't confirm that. I had one of my fraternity brothers actually say that to me, but I know people that actually knew her from back in the day, right? And so he married her. That was a good decision that he made, period, no matter what we want to say, right? She's actually lovely. Now, from 1992 through 2004, he became a civil rights attorney. He became an academic teaching constitutional law at the University of Chicago Law School. So there's this major connection with the University of Chicago. Matter of fact, his house is not far. I mean, pretty much you could almost consider it being on campus because it's that close to the yard. So realistically, he has always had this association with the University of Chicago Law School. Now, when I met Obama was when he was running for the actual, I think it was rerunning for the Senate. Okay. So it was for the Illinois Senate that he was running for. So from 1997 through 2004, he was involved in the Illinois Senate, right? And then from, I would say 2004, that's when he actually ran for U.S. Senate. So right in that time right there is when I met him. Is between him being an Illinois senator and him actually running for office for U.S. Senate, right? And he actually came down. I was vice president of the National Panhellenic Council for the city of Chicago, and he came down to give us a speech, do the typical sales thing that they do for us, right? So that was a major thing. That was a plus, right? Now, I met him. He was a good guy. He was super cool. But he won that actual primary. That primary led to him in 2004 being the keynote address at the Democratic National Convention, which ultimately turned into him having a landslide victory in 2004 for the Senate seat that he was going after. And then the rest is history. 2008, he decided to run for president. And it's almost like I remember him making that announcement and everything changed, running against Hillary, and boom. He ultimately became president, started serving January 20th, 2009, and then 8 years later, he was out of office. So that will always be a time that I will remember fondly in my mind because I remember, being down with the campaign, right? So that was a very good, exciting time. I want to mention that because it is President's Day. It's Black History Month and it's President's Day. So I want to mention that very, very first black president. Now, that being said, I will pause on that, and I want to make sure that I go ahead and bring Unfiltered. This always happens to us, so let me go ahead and just join that piece with everybody else for a second here, and let me just have you look at them. There's a few of them there. They're not always showing themselves, but they're back there working. So I just want to make sure I show the Unfiltered crew. Yes, 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 yes. They never wave when I tell them to wave, but usually things are a bit behind. But they're there. They're there. And finally, the last one shows on their stuff. That's okay. They're good to go. So I'm gonna come back here. So that's a good thing. I love having them because they actually help me in the background to make sure that we get everybody queued up for the show. So on that note, I think it is time for us to get started and bring our first guest in. Let me go ahead and split our screen here. I'm going to add something here so they don't have to show themselves, and because they asked to be there. And so I'm going to jump over here and let me add them, assign them as my guest one. So let me go ahead and let me get this back solo for a second. And then let me add them as our guest one, and then we can be good to go. Okay. Let's see. I got you as my guest one, and let me assign you. Okay. All right. Can you hear me, guest?
Yes, I can hear you.
How you doing? Now you told me you did not want to be on screen. Is that still true? Cause I see your video. So what you want to do? You want to be on screen or what?
Nah,
All
man.
right. All right. Well, I got
Nah.
you all covered here. Nobody can see you, so we're all good. So what shall I call you, caller?
Uh, my name's CL Labor.
Okay. All right,
First
CL.
name is CL.
All right, CL. Well, you have a question. So tell me, what is your question? Because I know you got more than one question. So what is your first question?
What's the difference between RTE versus Agile Coach?
Okay. Now, here's the deal. The first statement is you've heard about the scaled agile framework before, right? So you've heard
Yes,
about
sir.
that. So let's talk about what that is first. Okay. It is directly associated with that particular scaling framework in terms of an RTE. And according to SAFe, an RTE is a servant leader and a coaching professional responsible for driving end to end delivery of value in a single program or a value stream in a lean agile enterprise. Okay. So they're there to help with end to end delivery. Okay. Now, if I had the closest thing that I can compare them to would be like a programmer manager that is responsible for making sure things get delivered. So it's more than a program manager, different than a program manager, operating in this agile space, but their job is that end-to-end delivery. So they're really there making sure that all the cooking is happening and making sure that we're going to get things out the door. They're absolutely responsible for that delivery, okay? An agile coach may not be. An agile coach may be completely different in that. Because the problem that we have with the definition of an agile coach, CL, is that there is no standard for the word agile coach. There's no standard. So some people think of an agile coach as being someone who has some experience within agile frameworks, and now it's almost like they've graduated to a level where they can work with more teams, work at a higher level, just be in a position where they're a more experienced person within this particular area. But there's no official description of exactly what an agile coach is. So if you actually go to two different job recs descriptions that said agile coach on them, they may look quite different. Does that make sense? So since
Right.
there's no one standard, you can almost think of an agile coach as someone who is really, really good at agile, and agile is just the actual values and principles. So probably a little bit more than that. But the idea is that there's no one way to phrase them up. When it comes to an RTE, it's really, really clear because that role is defined in the framework and has specific things that they do. Now, in terms of me, in terms of my experience of agile coaching, it's been more like going into organizations and helping them to deliver ultimately, helping them to understand how to implement some agile framework, how teaching a culture how to live and breathe Scrum, teaching a culture how to deal with Kanban, incorporate these things inside the organization. But again, if I was to go to another organization, that might be quite different. Does that make sense?
Right.
So there's literally no, not that I know of, there's no definition on what an agile coach is, right? Because it was always a situation, at least when I began with Scrum, that you become a Scrum master, you get really good at Scrum, and then you graduate to an agile coach, but nobody knows what that was, right? Nobody really knew what that was, right? And so if I think about my career, man, I was a product planner. I was a project planner, and then I went to an agile project manager, and then what I would say is I was a Scrum Master, agile coach slash after that. But could I officially say to you that there was something really super official that I was doing as an agile coach that was industry standard? No, because there's no industry standard on the term agile coach. Now, some people will think of an agile coach as a person that's really helping more with that personal one-on-one, helping you get through things, right? And so you'll see in the Scrum Alliance we have coaching levels like a certified team coach, a certified enterprise coach. You'll see things like that happen, but people wouldn't necessarily line that up with it being an agile coach. You'll see with IC Agile, they have things associated with agile coaches, and you see different organizations have different things, but that's very different than, the federations that do coaching, right? So it's a very different thing, and it's really in the agile world, an agile coach is more like a person that has an expertise in agile. That's what it's all about, right? And so when you get that expertise, I don't know. Some people have said to me, some people said to me, well, how do I become an agile coach? And my statement to them was literally, just go get a job, man, and say the title, and you're good.
Hey, man, it's that easy.
It's that easy. So if somebody's willing to pay you for you to be called an agile coach, go get paid. Go get paid. And enjoy yourself in terms of getting paid. You understand? So my philosophy is the same way. So I kind of think of it that way. But with RTE, at least with the Scale Agile framework, it is really clearly defined on what an actual RTE is. When it comes to agile coach, I don't think there's never been a clear definition that we can say is agreed across the industry on that. And there's no industry standard on agile anyway, right? You got the Agile Manifesto, and even though, let me say something, CL. Let me say something. Hey y'all, we should be applauding, right? We should be celebrating, right? We should be celebrating because we're a couple of days past the 20th anniversary of the Agile Manifesto, February 11th through the 13th.
Yes, sir.
So we're a few days after that, So anyway, those guys did a wonderful thing when they actually created that Agile Manifesto. It actually created a whole industry, to be truthful, right?
Right.
A lot of us are fortunate because we're able to have a living off of something like this. But in terms of RTE versus Agile coach, there truly isn't this one standard. I wish I could say that there was, but it truly is not this one standard. So that's an interesting statement. But yeah, in classes, people always ask me that question, and I say the same: just go get a job, man. It says Agile coach. You're blessed as an Agile coach.
Yeah, I already know, man. I came out of Victor's program.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. So you came out of Victor's program. I talked to Victor probably the week before last, right? So week before that, right? And he got this nice job at Nike and everything else. So I like seeing y'all being successful, right? Because it's one of those things where I had one of my guys today say to me, I appreciate you helping the new school out. And I said, wait a minute, are you trying to say I'm old school, man? Are you trying to say I'm old school? Are you really trying to say I'm old school? I'm like, time out, man. I know I've been around the game for a little bit of time, but come on, man. Come
Right.
on, man. So I felt a little, I thought I was going to get depressed, but
Right.
I let it go. I let it go. I let it go. So that kind of stuff happens, right? It's an amazing thing. It's a good thing, man. I'm glad you're interested in that. We want to see more good people get experience with Scrum and all the framework. Forget just Scrum, just other frameworks that exist under the Agile landscape, right? Get experience
Right.
with that and just go and find ways to apply that and do things for themselves, their families, just individuals in general. So I think that's a good thing. I think it's a wonderful career. Obviously, I've made a career out of it, so there's no reason why you can't. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So that being said, I know you have another question. I know you have another question. So what's your next question, man?
Next question is what's some tips to scale from two teams in an organization that is new to agile transformation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they're using safe environment,
Mm-hmm.
but like the scrum master before me um kind of held their hand and moving kind of slower than what I would do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I see somebody, especially with developers, if I know they're talented, smart, and because I was a developer,
Mm-hmm.
using any kind of project management tool is like really simple, right? It's nothing to Google because we can develop, websites for these billion-dollar companies. We can easily use a project management tool, right? After
Mm-hmm.
some sprints.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the guys just like I can tell they knew what they was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially offshore people always use project management tools, right?
Yeah.
So when I see talent and I hear it and they're working as a team,
Mm-hmm.
right, and still new to agile but already have that team, history, I'm like, yo, let's give the power to them, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's my goal right now. We're making that. I'm replacing the scrum master, right? They're gonna fall off, and I'm gonna completely take over the team. So today, I was the manager wanted me to start leading the teams, the daily stand up. So I went ahead and put power into their hands, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a success. They knew exactly what to do, and I'm just like, they just didn't volunteer themselves, right? The scrum master would always facilitate and share their screen, and that's not me, right? I'm like, well, if my job is, in the scrum guide, according to my job, is to work myself out of a job, that means I need to empower y'all quicker now and then later because the organization wants y'all to be up and running, as independent teams. So that way they can scale to bring in more pieces of the organization, right? So
Okay.
maybe I'm just rushing. I don't know, but I'm trying to chill. But if I see an opportunity, I like to take it.
Okay.
So
So
you know.
chill for me for a second, right? Chill for me. Chill for me, right? Let me ask you a question, man. When was the last time, be honest with me, that you read the Scrum Guide front to back?
mm, the first one, the second one.
Well, there's been like 5 to 10 of them, right? So we're not talking about the 2021. Any one of them.
Okay.
When was the last time you read
Okay.
it, right? Front to back.
The 2017 one was probably like 4 months ago.
Okay. Now, if you remember in the Scrum Guide, the Scrum Master's job is to enable and support Scrum, right?
Right.
So now, when you say what you said, right, it's going beyond that, right? Because you want to jump over here, and right now, if the team needs your support in doing Scrum by getting back to the basics,
Mm-hmm.
that's part of what you should be doing.
It's the basics, like far as basic goes, like how basic.
As basic gets, right? Because if they need your help in terms of facilitating meetings, like setting them up, for example,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that that meeting is more effective for them accomplishing whatever goal we have here, If
Mm-hmm.
they need your help with those kind of things, isn't that your job to do until they get to that place
Mm-hmm.
where you can work yourself out of that job, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because just
Yeah.
think,
So yeah.
understand where you're
Yeah.
at, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can have two teams here, right? One team could be, I'm perfect at Scrum. We're absolutely
Mm-hmm.
ready to go. The
Right.
other team could be, we're kind of newish, we're kind of skittish, we're kind of whatever it is, right? And you may need to do a little bit more hand holding with them, right?
Right.
And so it's one of those things where what I want you to do, let's just put scaling to the side for a second.
Mm-hmm.
What I want you to do is I want you to move at the pace of the team, not move at your pace.
So it's exactly how you said it. One team is ready to go, and then
Mm-hmm.
the other one is like I'm just chilling on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the guys, when like kind of got into a little debate with the old Scrum Master with doing things himself and being independent, because
Mm-hmm.
he also has a Scrum Master cert and he's an enterprise architect. So it seemed like he was kind of getting emotional about like, hey, I can do this, And the other Scrum Master was like, no, I do it for you, and he's like, no, I'm gonna do it, and I'm just like, whoa. So
That is a whoa.
with
That is a
him,
whoa.
I feel like what I'm saying. I don't want to take that power away from him because he's like ready to go. He's already doing user stories and stuff. So I was like, going to share that. Hey, do you want to take over the daily stand up? And if you need any help, I'm here. I don't
Now,
want to like,
now, would I
you
have to
know,
take over certain things? So what you're saying is, I want to go ahead and groom them, or better term, help to position them to be better, so one day they can take this over and do this without my help. Do I have an issue with that? Not at all. But if you're going to do that, then I want you to do yourself and them a favor. I
mm-hmm,
want you to make sure that you are working a plan with them.
mm-hmm,
Like, here's where they want to go in their career. Can you help them get there? If that person is interested in being a scrum master, there's no reason why you can't help them get there in terms of being a scrum master. Does that make sense?
right,
And so, in terms of helping them get there, it is going to be a major plus for them. Is going to be a major plus for them because what they're doing is that they're growing because maybe the job that they want to have is to be that scrum master, is to be maybe leading a team in a direction. And so you can actually help them grow. And that
mm-hmm,
would be beneficial for them as well as for you because every time you train up somebody, you actually help yourself grow, right? So, like, as I pass this knowledge on to you, I'm actually growing through passing this on to you, right? If I'm taking an exam, I know that I'm ready to take that exam once I'm able to teach the class, once I'm able to teach people the
right,
concept, right? And so all you really want to do is just position them to be the best that they can be. And it sounds like you can do that. It sounds like you can do that. And it sounds like they're interested, which is way more of a benefit because there's a lot of people that just aren't interested. And if you have
right,
somebody that's interested, I want you to take advantage of that and help to position them. Help them position them, right? And they may never end up being a scrum master, but if they know scrum, they're gonna help every other scrum master out in the future. And teams that may not have a solid scrum master, they can help out with all those things, right? So these
right.
are nothing but pluses, nothing but pluses. Okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't answer your question. Okay, that doesn't answer your question.
Nah, but that was good though. I love it. Love it, man. So it just shows me I'm going in the right direction, and that I'm doing good versus the opposite of good.
The opposite of good. Well, no, I think you're doing the right thing. I think you're moving in the right direction, and moving in the right direction is a plus. Now, in terms of your other question about scaling a team, my statement to you is always follow the guideline of that size of the development team.
Hmm.
Remember that development team is 3 to 9, right? And
Hmm.
for me, in terms of the different studies that I've seen over the years, the right size development team in terms of the right size for a self-organizing team is somewhere between 4 and 6 people.
Four
Somewhere
and
between four
six.
and six. Yeah. So there's a guidance for Scrum of 3 to 9 people for the development team. But to put that to the
Right.
side for a moment, other
Right.
studies show, study after study shows that the right size of a self-organizing team is 4 to 6 people. So now, and it's interesting because the question that you just asked, I actually had a 6 month review with a client today. Okay, and this is a question that came up because they're starting to add people to their teams and they're getting bigger, and so now they're gonna have to make the decision to divide them, and they're gonna reach a point where that team is 9. And I told them once that team reaches 9, you're probably at the right place where you can make that decision to split. And I want you to think about that because if it's 4 to 6 is about the right size, that means if you split it 9, you got one is 4 and one is 5. Okay? And really,
Right.
that split is not, because the question they asked me, is that split based on front end, back end, or something that's an interim step in terms of development? No. When you split, you want to make sure both teams are self sufficient and can deliver without needing to talk much to each other. Deliver
Right.
without having to need each other to deliver, right? So you want two self-sufficient teams, two self-organizing teams once you decide to split. As long as you think about that, you are actually positioning yourself the right way. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yes, sir.
So realistically, scaling isn't super difficult. You just have to remember to yourself the reason why you're scaling, the reason why you're dividing these teams up. What's that reason, CL? I
Well,
just put you on the spot,
the
right?
well, I mean, so I mean, the organization will, the whole point of agile transformation, right, is to get eventually the whole organization into synergy. So
Mm-hmm.
to scale the teams is to bring other parts of the business that are not agile and to be able to, have a scrum master or a person that's
Pause, pause,
like
pause, CL.
me.
That wasn't my question. Pause, pause, pause. My question is why do you need to split?
Oh, split. Oh, because you want to make sure it doesn't get well, in my experience as a developer, the more people it is, the harder it is to manage everybody, and
Why is
it's
it
hard to
why
work
is it hard to
together.
manage? Why is it hard to manage?
It's
Why is it hard for them to work together? Why?
it's just a lot of people. Daily stand ups turn to 15 to as you add on people,
Okay.
everybody have different challenges, and 15 minutes turn into like 30-minute, 45-minute daily stand ups, and
Okay.
you
So
know.
you talked about a difficulty, right? So then why does it take longer to have a daily scrum, to have those meetings? Why does it take more time?
When let's see, when you go back to form, when you add new people to a team, it takes away that team chemistry a little bit, and you add a person. It's called forming, right? So we're forming a new team,
Okay.
and then we have new challenges based on what that person can do and their skill set.
Okay.
So, am I moving in the right
No,
direction?
you're fine. So then why does it become more challenging when you add new people?
Because you have to rebuild. It's like you go from high performing to like you starting over from scratch again. It's
Does
like
a
every
team
time
necessarily start over from scratch if you add somebody? That's not always the case, is it?
Mm, not always, but you do have to figure out what that person's good at and skill sets, and then splitting up the work. If it depends on the workload as well. Or am I overthinking this?
You're overthinking it because I'm because what you're doing is you're giving me other reasons why, if you add a person, does it impact the team?
Yeah, it does impact the team.
In what way?
It's more. I want to say it's just more to deal with than versus if it was a smaller team. The bigger a team is, it's only one scrum master, and then it's one PL. And the more people you have, it seems like it just gets kind of unorganized. The
Okay,
more
so
people you
then
keep adding.
here's the question, right? Why is a big team less organized than a smaller team? What's the difference between those two? What's happening between them? The big one versus the small
Smaller teams seem like they have more connection, more time with each other. They have more time to collaborate versus a big team.
one. You hit it on the head. You hit it on the head. Now, why am I asking you this? Because the issue is collaboration. The issue is communication. Those lines of communication. And understand what I just did to you, CL. I just used the 5 whys on you.
I know. That's why I was thinking too hard. I was
Just use
trying
the
to get
five
you to
whys
stop
on
at
you.
3.
Right. But the point is, I just used the 5 whys on you. We got to about 4, maybe even 5. But the point is, we got to the root of the communication collaboration thing, right? And that's the
Right.
problem that you're dealing with at that particular point in time. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, man. My question for you is, did I actually answer your question, sir?
um. So that second question, we want 4 to 6 people, but so how would you? So as a scrum master, if the organization's like, "Hey, Devon, we want you to, also stand up 2 more teams on top of your 2 teams you already stood up because you did a great job," right? Like how would that? How would you deal with that? Like, how would you handle
Well,
that?
the problem that you have is that a good scrum master can have more than one team. A great scrum master only has one. But here's the deal. A lot of scrum masters, industry standard, can handle 2 to 3 teams. Let's just say that, right? And so if they're asking you to stand up additional teams, just know every team you stand up means you have less time for the teams that exist. So who's going to backfill for the teams that exist? Does that make sense? So this is where I'm concerned at. So now I would want to make sure that I have someone to replace me for those other teams, because starting new teams is the most difficult part, because in the beginning is when they have the most questions.
Right.
Does that make sense? So you're going to do an
Right.
injustice to yourself if you're starting 2 brand new teams and you have 2 of them that already exist. Does that make sense? So
Right.
try to find a way to backfill for those other ones as best you can, so there's a smooth transition and they have someone to help them on a regular basis. While you go work with these 2 new teams would be the most fair thing to do. Does that make sense? Now, your organization may say no to that, and that happens. Not a big deal. Then you just got to do what you must do. Got it?
Right.
So yeah, you be fine,
Right.
man. Look at you. You're an expert, man. What you talking about, man? Why you even here, man? Why you even here? Why you asking me questions and I'm not asking you questions?
Hey, man, it's a show. I want to put on the show.
Hey, well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, CL. So you should be good to go. You're welcome to call back at any time, CL. We good to go. You've been a part of the classes, all other stuff. So you have any other questions? I've seen you email me before, so we good, man.
I appreciate it.
All right, CL.
Appreciate it.
You have a good one, okay?
You too.
Thanks. Okay, everyone. Now, CEO had a few good questions. Really, we covered about 3 things during that time with him. But his questions were just a good, solid 3 questions, 2 or 3 questions. We went into an additional one, but without ado, I am going to go ahead and add my next guest, because my next guest is waiting for us. So we're going to go ahead and cue the next guest up and get them to go ahead and join us. My next guest, are you here with me?
Yes, I am.
I know this guy, and I can show his camera with no problem because I know him. What's up, Jack? What's going on, man?
How you doing, boss?
Man, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Why you on my show, Jack? Why you on my show?
I missed you.
You
I'm missing the Christmas dinners is what I am.
What? Hey, there was no Christmas dinners during COVID.
I know.
So how are you doing, man? How is life happening? What's going on, man?
Life's good, doing my training and my coaching, and got a Monday through Friday gig, and then on the weekends twice a month I'm teaching public classes. So everything's good. Bought a new house. All good.
You got power.
I got power.
You got power. There's a lot of folks that's in our area that don't have power, right? So that's a plus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you got
Yeah,
power, so that's a
I got a
plus.
lot of, yeah, just been out a little bit, but I got a big ass Jeep, UPS battery backup too.
Okay, well then you good, man. You good. You don't
Yeah,
so if everything goes out of my house, I get in my truck and we'll come on over, okay? The whole crew.
anytime,
I got a
anytime.
whole posse of folks. So, Jack, I'm gonna ask you, do you have a question first?
I do. I have
What's
several questions.
Nah, you ain't supposed to have
Okay,
several questions, but
so
go with question
I
number
got a
one,
fun
Jack.
question, and then
Go
I
ahead.
got a real question.
Okay, go
Okay,
ahead.
my fun question is, who was your favorite mentee? And you better answer this one right.
My favorite mentee is Jack. There we go.
Thank you. Okay, all right. Okay. So here's my real question. My real question is, you know, we're busy people,
Yeah.
and we interact with a lot of people. I mean, thousands of people. You and I have trained thousands upon thousands of people
Yeah.
at this
True.
point.
Yeah.
And, everybody needs help. How do you decide where to spend your time? And I'm not talking about in the classroom. I'm not talking about on a paid coaching gig. I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about outside of that, our limited discretionary time that we have so little of.
Um. So here's what I would say to you. Okay. And I say to you, say this to you as a way of kind of peeling back it a little bit. When you're saying to me, I'm not talking about getting paid. Okay.
Hmm.
I'm not talking
That's right.
about anything else. Right. There is a few rules that I put in place for my time. Okay. Um, one of those rules is the altruistic. I see something in a person and I can help them get to a next step. Okay.
Okay.
The problem with that is that I see that with a lot of people.
Right.
I see that with a lot of people, and I don't have enough time to be able to do that in a way that is going to be appropriate. So, one of the reasons why I created this show was to do that, to be able to do that en masse. So, and then if people really have a question, they know every Monday, 8 p.m., they can come and have a conversation with me. Okay? So, this was my way of giving back. Now, as I think about other ways, just finding other ways to have a massive impact on several people, then I'd be thinking about getting involved in meetups, other community kind of things where you can help out more than one person with the same amount of time. Okay? So that is one way to help. And that is a way that I would recommend anybody to do. The second thing that I think about is my mentor. And my mentor outside of Scrum and Agile. I had a mentor. His name was Abraham Lincoln Reynolds. He's passed away now. And he helped me in terms of business and everything else. But what I realized and what I learned from him is that the reason why he mentored me was because I did things for him without asking for anything in return. So what ended up happening is I would go and assist him with, because he was an older gentleman, I would go and assist him with his computer, help him understand. He was still using AOL, help him understand AOL, help him understand how to navigate things and be able to put his writings and things like that on the internet. I was finding ways to help him, and by helping him, he helped me tremendously. Because most of the lessons that I would be getting from him would be lessons that would happen while I'm doing stuff with him, for him, and then it became a situation where now I'm like a son, and anytime I go to Chicago, this is one of the places where I would stop and I would visit, and we would powwow, we would talk, we would just good, right? to the point where when he passed away, he actually left me in his will because pretty much I'm like a son to him. Now, there's a difference between the two, a huge difference between the two, because everybody's not going to give time to you. Every mentee that comes to you will not give to you, they will mostly try to take from you. And the question becomes, when you have ones that are trying to give to you and giving to you in an altruistic way, you will likely find time for those few to be able to get time to them. Does that make sense? Are you still there?
Yeah, but you didn't help me because I was helping you.
Huh?
You decided you didn't help me because
Uh-huh.
I was helping you. You helped me because I was helping others.
Right. I helped you because you was helping others, which is what I saw. And also I helped
Right.
you for a different reason, right? The other thing that happens is that you have a trusted person who brings that person to you. How did you come to me, Jack?
Your wife.
Right? How did you come? You came to me through
That's
Lizzie. That's how you came to me, right? And it's through coming
right.
to me through Lizzie, because the way you and I crossed paths was I was supposed to go to a class, and I didn't make it to that class. And it was a class with Dean Leffingwell for SAFE. I didn't make it to that class because I had to do the gig at Motorola. Okay? And so Lizzie went to that class. She met you. She introduced you to me. And we know how that all went. And what I saw in you, we were one working together. And what I saw in you was some unbridled energy that needed to be tapped into. Because you got to remember, you was like a bull in a china shop, man. You was like, look, here's the deal. This is what it says, do. Just do it, and we'll all be good. If you ain't doing it, that's your fault, because you're not doing it. But this is what it says, do, and do exactly that thing. Do exactly that.
Pretty simple, right?
It was super simple. But what I had to get you to understand was it ain't that simple. It's never that simple when it comes to people, right?
Yeah.
And so what I saw was that unbridled energy that needed to be called in. So, and then you go beyond the book, the theory, and help people like they're people. And those are lessons that you needed to learn. And so I could help you with that a little bit. And then on top of that, man, you wasn't going nowhere. Jack is
What
a
do you mean
different
I
kind of
wasn't
guy,
going
man.
anywhere?
Jack is
You
a
mean
different kind of guy.
I wouldn't take no.
No, Jack wasn't taking no. But I didn't, I didn't really
So
give
how many
Jack a no
times did
anyway.
I ask you to be my mentor before you agreed?
Well,
3 times.
yes.
And I had already
Even
worked for you in the
yes,
field and you still wouldn't do it.
that's true. Because I just don't do it. I just don't be making time. But the idea though is Jack will call me, especially when he was making major moves in the beginning. So
That's right.
the good thing about having a mentor is you don't usually need your mentor for everything if you're a go-getter. Jack's a
No.
go-getter. So Jack would call me and would be like, Devon, I got the decision between this company and this company, and then we'll talk about it and we'll work through it. And then I'll say, well, you should go to this company for this reason. And usually it's the right reason, right? And Jack would normally agree with that reason, right? And it could be something as, hey man, you just want their name on your resume. If you go there and have their name on your resume, it's going to write your ticket for other companies later. Okay? And I would assume
And it did.
that,
And it did.
right. And so with that, Jack was able to take from my experience, right? Because when you have a mentor, and Like I told Jack to go to a particular company at one point. Say, go to this company for this reason. I don't care if they're paying you less. I don't care about that because I want their name on your resume. Because you will forever be able to walk around with their name on your resume, and it will help you in the future. And you can hear that Jack has said it's been helpful, right?
Oh yeah.
Now, why did I give Jack that advice? Because there are companies on my resume that will always have an impact. So I learned this when I had an internship at Walt Disney World. No matter where I go, no matter what I do on the planet, I can always even mention Disney as a internship. And people will listen. But then when I start throwing companies out like State Farm, Allstate, Capital One, USAA, military, whatever it is, people listen immediately, right? And one company that I tell you to go to for the name?
Well, it might have been that little company out in Arkansas.
Yes. I told him to go to Walmart for the name, right? I told him to go to Walmart
Yeah,
for the name.
I led 15 SBCs
That's
out
fine.
there. It wasn't
That's good.
it wasn't a little deal. It was a big deal.
It was a big deal. But the idea is, regardless of how big that deal was, he was debating between Walmart and somebody else.
Yeah.
You understand? He was debating between Walmart and somebody else. And here's the statement. Even if it was a little bitty thing that he was doing at Walmart, the name Walmart would have way more recognition than the other company he was going to go to. And I don't remember what the other name of the company was. Let's not even talk about the other company. But the idea is that Walmart is going to always have a big, big, big thing on his resume. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts to that. And if he's able to go into Walmart and make a name for himself in Walmart, like you did, go in there and deliver things. Now understand, it's not just good enough to just have the name Walmart, but you walk in the door and now you start having an impact. Well, it's not just the name now, it's you've had an impact at that particular location. And now that impact carries on and lasts you from job to job to job to job to job. Does that make sense, everybody? This is very, very important and it's crucial. But guess what he wasn't asking me? How to do Scrum. You understand?
So you want to tell them how you validated on the first day that we worked together whether or not I knew Scrum?
I asked him to teach me Scrum. Anytime you
got 5 minutes or you're out of here.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what it was. It's true. I'm dogmatic like that. So if you ever had an opportunity to work with me, I will sit with you and I will say, look, here's the board right here. Teach me Scrum. Now, mind you, I'm a certified Scrum trainer. Ain't nothing special about that. But the idea is that teach me Scrum. Because I need to know where you're at and where our gaps are at because we have to work as a team together. And a team that's not on the same page is a problem. Is a huge problem. And so I told him he got to teach me Scrum. Period. And I told him he's going to be up out of here if he didn't teach me Scrum. It's true. Yeah, it's true. It's true because Jack was getting on my nerves. He know that. He was.
After the first 5 minutes of being there.
Yeah. So he was good. Once he's able to teach me Scrum, then we were good. Right?
I have been accused of being a purist. I have been accused of being a purist.
No question. To his heart, he's a purist. I will not put that past him whatsoever. He's a purist. But I need him to be a purist, but have some flexibility within that purity. Mm-hmm. Because it's very few organizations that can be pure. Right? They're going to have a little bit of
So Devon, do you think that I want people to be pure, or do you think that I want people to recognize their current state and understand what the vision of the future is for them? What do you think? I think
you want people to understand the current state and what the vision of the future are, right? But here's how he was first coming off. You got to do Scrum exactly this way. The other part wasn't coming off in his conversations, and part of where Jack had to grow with me was beyond, I know you want to present this, but what it sounds like is this. So let's deal with that gap. And one of the places where I was able to help Jack when we were working together is dealing with that gap. Does that make sense, everybody? I hope that makes sense, right? You know, any place you go, you should have an opportunity to grow. Period. If you're not going someplace and you're not growing, then you have a bigger problem. If you're the top dog at the place, I understand, but then find you some other people outside of the organization to help you grow, right? So it is one of those things with Jack where we just had to work through that. We had to work through that. And Jack has some wonderful relationships with the people that we worked with there. He probably has some better relationships with some of the people from there than I do, right? Because, again, he was really working closely with teams on the ground. I was dealing with a lot of trying to deal with the executive thing and trying to, have cover fire for them and everything else while they were on the ground making sure the teams are being as effective as they can be. Even though we ran into hiccups and ultimately what happened wasn't our fault, but we did the best that we could in that situation. But that purity, when I tell you that first couple weeks with Jack, that purity was all everybody heard. This is exactly what it is. This is the way you got to do it. This is exactly the way you need to do it at this particular time in this particular place. And we had to get them past that, right? So a good mentor is going to help you with that, right? But a good mentor won't just help you with the basics. The good mentor is going to help you actually make you better in terms of this whole thing. So you can help other people. And right now, I would say, for sure, Jack has helped a whole lot of people along the way. Am I correct, Jack?
A couple.
You've helped a whole lot of people, man. I know you have. No question. Don't be humble about it. Truth is truth, right? So, and here's the deal. And I want you to understand something. This is like Jack's second or third career, right, Jack? Because Jack is involved in the military and everything else. So Jack has had a whole life. I mean, he's had a whole life prior to getting involved in Scrum. I mean, a whole life. And he got doctors as sons, right?
Yeah. So I have a degree in biochemistry. I worked for a chemical company. I worked for an environmental equipment company. I was in technical sales. I was the second employee hired by the company that invented voicemail.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's aging yourself.
And I did that even before I got into IT.
That's aging yourself. Like, for real, time out. Do anybody use voicemail at this point?
I've been doing IT for 20 years.
Yeah. So like I just said,
I'm old.
He's had multiple lives for real. So when I say to you, when did we do that, Jack? That was like 2014.
2014 is when we started. November 2014.
2014, 2015.
Yeah.
And so you already had multiple lives at that point, right? And so we talking about 7 years since that point?
I had lived in 3 countries by then.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like I said, I'll say it again. Multiple lives long before he ever got to this Scrum thing. And still, this old dog, as he would say back in the day, learned some new tricks. So
and I learned it from a younger dog. People don't realize I'm older than Devon.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm significantly older than you are.
Yes, you are definitely older than me. That is very, very true. But I love him. He loves me. That love will never leave. That love will never go any place. And it all came together at a little company called Motorola when he showed up and worked my nerves. When he showed up and worked my nerves, and he will never allow me to live that one down.
Never.
Okay, all right, Jack. Well, we got to end this. Let's talk this
Thank
week
you, my
offline.
friend.
Let's talk this week offline, Jack. I will reach out to you this week, okay?
Yeah, I gotta tell you about teaching a bunch of architects.
Oh, we can talk about that, and we need to catch up with Tim.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. All right, then, Jack. I appreciate it, man.
All right, talk to you later.
All right,
Bye-bye.
have a good one. Everybody, man, that was a pleasure. Okay? The first thing that I need to tell you is please, 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 before you go, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this, right? Make sure you join us, right? Make sure you click that notification bell. Again, I need you to like, subscribe, click that notification bell so we understand and you join us for this journey. On that note, this was, I feel like this one was unfair. Like, I literally feel like this one was unfair because I feel like I've just had good conversations with people, and that's what I want to be able to do, have good conversations with people. And that was a plus, especially seeing Jack. That definitely was a plus. So on that note, look, y'all, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully this has been entertaining enough for you during this particular one. Hopefully you're getting some value out of this. And on that note, I got a few people I do need to reach out to this week, for real, because let me tell y'all something. I have somebody that should be, and I'm not going to mention this person by name. I have somebody that should be connected to me on LinkedIn, but has not connected me on LinkedIn, and I have a connection for this person. And they have not connected with me. I'm very, very uptight at them, and I'm going to reach out to them, right? Because sometimes I run across somebody, and if I know something about you, I want to connect you with people, right? I am a connector, and I will connect you with people, right? But if I can't connect you, I can't connect you if you don't do your stuff, if you don't do your part of the deal. On that note, look, y'all, this has been a pleasure. We're going to have our official outro, which is the outro for the rest of our videos. But I'm going to say, look, hey, if you're in one of these cold places, man, stay warm. Stay warm, please, right? Because I want to see you in the future. But otherwise, we're going to do this again next week. Monday, 8 p.m. Central Time. We'll do it again. We will have a blast, have a nice little party. On that note, I'm going to say, hey, y'all, peace. I'll see you next time, okay?